Brad Pitt is the sexiest American on the planet, but just because his face is legally classed as pornography in some states doesn't mean he's not a great actor too. But don't take my word for it, take his film's word for it, as we heartthrob our way through 5 cracking Brad Pitt films on Prime Video. Up first is arguably Brad's most memorable role, Fight Club. Edward Norton plays a guy who has it all. Decent job, lovely furniture, and insomnia. But when his flat goes absolutely pop, he realises he also needs a friend who dresses like Willy Wonka. That man is Tyler Durden, a soap salesman who starts a punching society in order to make the local villagers so sweaty and grubby they'll have to buy more soap from him. And it was exactly this horrible obsession with consumerism that director David Fincher wanted to highlight in the film. Ironically, he accidentally left loads of Starbucks cups in the background of nearly every shot, proving his own point perfectly. Fight Club was originally a book, but couldn't have been very good because they had to try it again as a film. But this time it worked. Pitt and Norton were a match made in heaven, and to prepare for their roles they took lessons in boxing, taekwondo and acting. Lots of the punching was actually real, such as this scene here, which affected Brad's brain so much he mistakenly repeated the first rule of Fight Club twice. This absolute treasure trove of blood and Helena Bonham Carter saw Brad Pitt trying to shake off his image of a pretty boy by playing the role of a gorgeous boy. And despite some parents protesting that the film was a bit much and could actually encourage young viewers to stop cleaning their teeth, it really has stood the test of time and helped launch the careers of Jared Leto, Meatloaf and Pingu. Next up, a man gives birth to a human raisin and gives him as a present to a lovely bunch of steps. Yes, it's the curious case of Benjamin Button, a silly, laugh-out-loud story of a baby called Ben who was born on his 80th birthday and keeps getting younger till he dies of young age. It truly is hilarious. Helped by the fact that he was too scary looking to ever go to school, he becomes the stupidest and goofiest person in the town who thinks you can play a trumpet through your ear and don't have to wear a helmet when you ride a motorbike with one hand. It's hard to tell if the film has a plot because you just keep thinking how weird Brad Pitt looks in every scene, but it's a very fun, wacky movie and we can't help but giggle away when we find out this crusty old toddler goes to the same brothel as his dad who's half his age. Considering it's one big slapstick romp, it's amazing how much effort went into the visual effects, with 155 special effects artists working for 2 years straight to make Brad Pitt look ugly, and they even won an Oscar for making him look just like a dead person who shrunk in the wash. The film does try to be clever. It explores themes of time by using clocks, multiple time periods, and by being 3 hours long. But in the end, the giggles win out, and it gives us a lovely glimpse into what Tenet would look like if it starred Mr. Bean. Sure, it gets a bit boring in the middle when it becomes a film about a guy who looks about right for his age, but the silliness soon resumes as an old Cate Blanchett plays kiss chase with a perfectly smooth tiny grandad. Next, a film which was given an 18 rating just for the title alone. It's Inglourious Basterds. Set in the most recent World War, Brad Pitt plays the leader of a travelling gang of wig merchants who go around trying to collect as many German scalps as they can find after realising just how lovely their hair is. The film is terrifying, even when they don't resort to shouting or punching, and although it's not nearly as scary to look at as the decapitation bit in Kill Bill, or the fact that Django keeps smoking extra big cigarettes, Tarantino is able to make the audience feel just as uncomfortable with tense interrogation scenes and nobody supporting this lady's ladder. The wig men eventually run into Nazi Harry Potter, who gives away their whereabouts to one of the nastiest and most confusing baddies in history. He's always giggling and politely saying please and thank you, but then suddenly switches and rudely talks with his mouth full and strangles people to death. Tarantino also did that thing in films where he got the baddie to drink milk in order to freak the audience out even more by making him look like a big disgusting baby. Some people said it was too violent towards the end, but then others say that World War II was very violent as well, so they cancel each other out. It took Tarantino 10 years to write, probably because he had to learn German so he could give lines to all the Nazis, but it was well worth the wait. I love this film, and I'm 99.999% sure you will too. This next film is so good it would be a deadly sin if you missed it. Yes, it is, of course, 7 Years in Tibet. A very surprising sequel to the film Seven, Brad now plays the role of a wimp called Heinrich, who is so scared of becoming a dad that he hides up a mountain where all the locals incorrectly think he's the tongue inspector. But after some nice Englishmen take him to a VIP camp with free food and 24-hour security, he escapes and befriends a curious peeping Tom called Dalai, despite being criticised for the flying horse at the beginning who never gets mentioned again, and also for not focusing more on the cute little boy.
And who's Jack the Ripper?
This true story really let Brad flex his acting muscles, playing 4 separate types of character within the film itself, from disgusting to Made in Chelsea to baby to ridiculous. Brad really was the perfect choice for this role. He really pushed himself to the limit by doing lots of his own stunts and trying his best to learn the local language. But he was also perfect because the only way to make an audience not hate a Nazi is if we fancy him first. It really is one of those sexy Nazi pops up a hill kind of films, and is a great example of why you should always book return flights before you go on holiday. And now, for a little bit of fun, it's Mr. and Mrs. Smith, a film that poses the famous thought experiment: what would happen if James Bond had to kill his wife, but his wife was also James Bond? The answer, of course, is a 2-hour sexy fight between Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. They play 2 secret assassins who get hired to kill each other, but after a big old scrap where they both get whacked on the head a few too many times, they forget what they're meant to be doing and start to bonk until they're friends again. It was directed by the man behind Bourne Identity and Swingers, who, when he ran out of ideas for his new film, just stuck the 2 together and made some hit men kiss each other. But although at its heart it's just a modern-day Punch and Judy, Brad Pitt found some of the scenes quite challenging, so in order to make the tricky marriage counselling scenes a bit easier, he divorced Jennifer Aniston. It was great fun, and sure it didn't win any Oscars, but it doesn't matter. Sometimes you just want to relax, grab some popcorn and watch attractive people's property go down in value. So there we have it, and if you want to see a genuinely brilliant actor be contractually obliged to take his shirt off at least 3 times a film, then swing over to Prime Video and watch the coolest man in Movie Town act the heck out of some truly cracking films.